Bumblebee is directed by Travis Knight, and this is the 6th film of the Transformers film series, but this is kind of like a soft reboot, or kind of like a prequel, or kind of like a reboot, or kind of like a whatever you want to think it is. Some say it's a prequel to the 2007 film, but to me, it's more like a reboot for my personal eyes, in my opinion. The film stars Hailee Steinfeld and John Cena, and many among others. I can go on, but let's just get right to the story. It's set in the 1980s where we see Bumblebee rise on Earth looking for refuge for Optimus Prime and the other Autobots. It's not till a human teenage girl named Charlie Watson, played by Hailee Steinfeld, finds and befriends with Bumblebee, and of course they both became friends, and along the way the Decepticons are hunting down for Bumblebee. Of course, the military, played by John Cena, who is basically there to look for Bumblebee as well. It's kind of like a simple, straightforward story, and its story is very similar in a certain way, which we'll get to in a moment. Back when The Last Night came out in 2017, it was a huge mess and a big giant slap in the face to Transformers fans. I think many people have checked out by that time. People were like, okay, I give up, because I was like that after The Last Night came out. I remember going like, okay, if there's another Transformers coming in and I know what to expect, I give up. I'm done. I'm finished with it. I'm kind of like, I'm done with it. But, however, when Bumblebee's coming out and I seen the trailers for it, I was kind of like, yeah, it looks different, but I wasn't expecting anything great out of it. I was expecting like be the same thing. It's just going to be a very basic Transformers film. But, however, when the reviews start coming out, I didn't saw this till January in 2019, but when it came out in December 2018, and I saw reviews, I heard a lot of positive things about it, and I remember going like, oh, it's getting good reviews. So I was kind of like, okay, you know what, I'll check it out. So me, well, my fiance at the time, my wife, who's my fiance at the time, a couple of months before we got married, we saw this film, and to my surprise, it was actually really good. I don't know how to describe it. It's just one of those moments I was kind of like, holy crap. And the time I ended the film, and I was came out going like,
now that's better.
Oh, finally, we've gotten a good Transformers movie. Now, is it perfect? Not necessarily, but as far as this overall film, in terms of the Transformers franchise as a whole, in terms of ranking, this is probably my favorite out of the Transformers movies. This is probably my favorite. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I've got to say this. Travis Knight, who directed this film, who directed Kubo and the Two Strings, which a film that is a really great film, very underrated by my opinion. If you've not seen it, watch it. It's a damn good film. Travis Knight, he is a big fan of Transformers. He must have come in and Paramount must have said, hey, can you direct a Transformers film? He went, yeah, I'll direct it because I'm a big fan of Transformers. And thankfully, Michael Bay has taken the seat back this time because he's now a producer now with the most recent Transformers films, along with this, Rise of the Beast, which I will talk about in my next video some point soon. And of course, last year's Transformers 1. So he's got a producer credit. So he is kind of involved, but he's not like have all the says or yes or no's or check marks or anything he does. And I gotta say, this is a breath of fresh air from this Transformers film, which I have to give it praise because this is definitely a more fresh pace for the fans, something that has some nostalgic moments with the 80s. Whoever grew up in the 80s, they'll have some nostalgic moments and certain stuff from certain movies. I haven't grown up in the 80s, I was born in the 90s, but with certain nostalgia stuff, you kind of go, oh yeah, I remember that. Or people who grew up in the 80s, they'll probably have some nostalgia stuff or something like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or, oh yeah, that was cool. But again, it's one of those things for the fans, something that fans can relate to, and because it is Transformers came out in the 80s, because it had so many cheesy stuff towards it. I think Travis Knight does capture the feel of the Transformers, and the cinematography-wise, it has some bright colour to it. It doesn't feel over-exaggerated like Michael Bay does, or it doesn't have any, camera angle shots or certain explosions left or right, hot women or in slow motion, or it doesn't have any weird romantic plot lines for certain characters. Even though it do have certain characters between Charlie and this other guy, played by, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who's his next door neighbour is also kind of kind of answer, but doesn't do like the whole typical romance story, which when he tries to hold Charlie's hand at the end and Charlie goes, no, we're not there yet, we're not there yet. So it kind of feels like a little, oh no, we're not doing the whole romantic stuff thing. So thankfully didn't do that. And in terms of the writing here is actually pretty decent, I would say. I have to give thanks to Christina Hodson, I think that's the writer's name. I do apologize if I pronounced the writer's name's wrong. I know she has done a few bad movies here and there, which some I've not seen, but I'm probably not going to watch. But Kelly Frighorn Craig, who actually directed The Age of 17, who also stars Hailee Steinfeld, came in for the rewrite. So even though she didn't get credited in the final product of the film, I will say that she did come in for the rewrite, and she did say, okay, maybe do this here and there. No, maybe do this one, because I think that would have worked. So maybe they did help Christina Houston's writings, just in case he wants to persuade some of the ideas going for it. I have to say the writing here is really good. Even though I will say this, the writing is very similar to E.T. because there's certain beats for beats, certain stuff that happens in the movie, which you do get that here, but it does in a way it's creative and a lot of fun. It does put some inspired art to it, and it does have some heartfelt moments. It is terrific, and I really love how they brought that in. Let's just jump right into the characters. I'm going to say this now. I know I'm going to be biased for saying this, but Hailee Steinfeld is Charlie Watson, and if you know me personally, and you probably saw my videos most of the time, but Hailee Steinfeld is probably my favourite thing about this movie. Yeah, of course, you're probably thinking, oh, I can see why it's your favourite Transformers movie because of Hailee Steinfeld. In certain degree, yes, I'm a bit biased towards that, but I can't help but see her in this film. But she does give a great performance. She's really likable. Her character is relatable, and she has a lot of heart to it. And her chemistry between her and Bumblebee, you know Bumblebee is a CGI character, but her chemistry between her and Bumblebee is amazing. It just brings so much awe and so much wonder to it. It makes me just loves her deeply into this character. That is saying something. That is saying something a lot. But however, I do really like there's a lot of arc to her. She has an arc in this film. Trying to fix this car that her and her dad worked on before he passed away, and he's trying to get it fixed, but you know she really could not, because she couldn't do it without her dad, and she's not feel isolated towards her family, which it does give her some character arc in this film, but also be friends with Bumblebee, trying to help him, make him remember, find his voice again after his voice being taken off by one of the Decepticons. But I will say this, my favourite moment between Bumblebee and Charlie is basically Charlie breaks down to tears and getting emotional because how the song that she puts up on Bumblebee while she's trying to fix the car while Bumblebee's watching The Breakfast Club, which I've got to say this, that scene is probably my favourite scene in the moment because that made me go throughout the cinema, even watching it in the cinemas and even watching it now. I remember feeling something. I remember going, oh my God, I'm really feeling something here because I never felt this was a certain movie for quite some time for Transformers, because Transformers is all about, you know, explosions, robots versus robots. That's all you have to see. But there's a lot of heart to it, which I honestly felt something really deep down, especially Hailee Steinfeld's performance. I gotta get credit. This is where she really shines in the film. And I remember going like, God, I felt it. I nearly teared up. I nearly cried. I remember going, this is a Transformers movie and this is making me feel something. And Bumblebee tries to comfort her and Charlie hugs him and Bumblebee hugs back. It was a beautiful moment. I adore that scene to the high heavens. It was probably my favorite moments. It just brings my heart to tears.
If I could just get it to start up again. He would hear me. He would hear me.
And of course, you do have Holly's family characters like her mom and her new stepfather, Ron. And of course, you have this other her brother, who is basically her younger brother, who's getting more love and appreciation from her mom. Now Charlie's not getting much after her dad passed away. He feels isolated. And yeah, they're fine. They're not the best written characters, but they do have their moments. And they're definitely a lot better than Sam's parents in the Michael Bay Transformers trilogy. But as far as other stuff going on, like John Cena's character as the military soldier, John Cena did his best. He was good. I do like him. Frankly, there's no much subplots to him. He's just there to give his performance and just there to help out the two Decepticons who try to hunt Bumblebee. He's not telling them, find out one of the, I think it's one of the Sector 7 characters. Frankly, it's not connection to Seymour Simmons' character from the first three or maybe the last night. He does make appearance too. If they find out it's the Decepticons are there to hunt down the Autobots, but it's basically they're the villains the whole entire time. But I will say this, the Decepticons voiced by Angela Bassett, and I think the actor's name is Justin Theroux. I hope I'm pronouncing the actor's name wrong, but their performances are good. The voice performance is great. I do really like them. I think they really do give some good presence. They're not the best written villains, but in terms of Decepticons, they're not wasted. Thankfully. Some Decepticon villains deserve to be more treated away. But I will say this, I'm going to give some credits to the Transformers design on Bumblebee and the two Decepticons, and even the whole certain Autobots and Decepticons we do see, like brief imagery, especially on Optimus Prime, which, holy crap, they look like the 80s cartoons, just like they were back in the days. It just shows that Travis Knight is a big fan of Transformers. He is a fan. You can tell they're really a fan of these characters, the fan of just everything. Again, it just proves to show he is a fan, not wasting any time, any suggestion. I really love their designs. And gotta say, I will have to forget to mention this part, the opening scene on Cybertron, where you see the Autobots go up against the Decepticons, there's a war on Cybertron, which I gotta say this, the Cybertron opening scene is amazing. My jaw dropped. The moment I saw that, I remember going, whoa, that is so cool.
Like I said, very cool stuff.
I bet back in the days when that film came out, I bet Transformers fans were just overhyping this, just full of joy. And I remember going like, I'm not a Transformers fan, but that scene there is cool. And yeah, of course, Peter Cullen does the voice of Optimus Prime, which Peter Cullen doesn't do the much the voice of Optimus Prime in this film, but we do hear his voice. It's so iconic. Again, doesn't phone it in. You can tell he's really enthusiastic about this one. And as far as Dylan O'Brien, who actually did the voice of Bumblebee for the first 5-10 minutes of the screen time he gets, but as far as this one goes, he's really good. You know, I wish we could have kept his voice film, but got rid of his voice box or his voice that makes him talk, but damaged. So he's basically mute for a while, and of course he has his memory loss after being damaged, and of course he has to be in this Beetle wagon when Charlie finds him at this junkyard. The action scenes here, which I will give some credits to, the Transformers action scenes is pretty good. It's not like big or bombastic like Michael Bay. It's not trying to be that way because I think it's trying to be its own thing. I did appreciate it's not trying to be Michael Bay aesthetic. It's not trying some slow motion effect. You do get some explosions here and there, but it's only minor, so it's not, over exaggerating. So it's basically cool Transformers action style, which that is something really cool. It's very choreographed. It's very well edited, the editing and the directing by Travis Knight. And overall, this score here is really good. I really like the theme here. It's actually pretty nice. And I gotta give some credit. Hailee Steinfeld's song, Back to Life, which I listen to that song millions of times. I do listen to that song every time I'm on my headphones, when I'm traveling to work or at home, or listen on YouTube. I usually listen to that all the time. I put my headphones on. I remember listening to it going like, whoa. Not gonna lie, I listen to that in my sleep most of the time, just to hear it on repeat. I just wanted to listen to her voice in my dreams. Yeah, for that reason's wrong. And the way the film ended, it's just ended perfectly. It just has a nice heartfelt moment when Charlie says goodbye to Bumblebee at the end. It was just a really touching moment. It was just a satisfying moment to me, and I really liked it. It touched my heart a little bit, and of course turns to a series Camaro car, which he was back in the 2007 film in the beginning of Transformers when Sam finds him. He drives off along with Optimus Prime when the Autobots arrived. So to wrap up, Bumblebee, I would say, is a breath of fresh air, and I think this is my personal favourite Transformers film. Incredible. I really had fun with this film. This is probably my favourite Transformers movie. And yeah, I would say this is definitely more than meets the eye than Michael Bay has. I'm going to give Bumblebee a B+. Guys, comment down below and tell me, what do you think of Bumblebee? Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you think it's alright? Or do you absolutely hate it? Whatever the case is, comment down below and tell me what you think. Oh, and stay tuned. I have Transformers Rise of the Beast coming, so a revisit review. Very interested to talk about that film again. Very interesting. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Until next time, see ya.